Hi everyone, this is Aaron Crane from River Valley Music Academy, and today I just want to quickly walk you through the basics of guitar amp. So my amp is a Peavey Delta Blues 30 watt tube amp. Every amp you see is either a tube amp or a solid state amp. Tube amps have tubes. They're just basically glass, they look like little light bulbs up inside the amp, and just in my opinion it makes them a little warmer. And that's what this is. So let me just take you through the controls here. We're going to start with the clean channel. So you see where this says normal. I hope these are easy to see. This is just basically volume. So that's on. And then 3. Okay. So that's pretty self-explanatory. Let's jump a couple here and take you to bass, middle, treble. These are just your EQ. So if you want to get a really really lo-fi sound, you crank the, whoops, geez, I can't see them either. Crank the mids down, you know, so you can kind of play around with it. If you turn the mids up, it's fatter in the middle. If you turn the treble up, then you get sort of a little more chimey, a little more like an acoustic guitar. So it's really just to taste. You kind of just put it where you want it. And this amp has 2 channels. The second channel can potentially be a little more distorted. So if I hit this button, this switches me to the second channel, and now this volume does nothing. We're looking at pre and post. Distortion is created when there's a lot of sound coming through the preamp, and so much that it's too much for the amp to handle, and that's when you get that crunched up, distorted sound. So if I turn the pre down, turn the post up, it's still nice and clean. But if I turn the preamp up, and I'm going to turn the post down just for the sake of my neighbors, that's when you start getting into some distortion. And then I have a foot switch, which I'm not using right now, but the switch is between clean and then the distortion. My amp has reverb built in, not all of them do, but this amp has a spring reverb. I'm going to go back to the clean channel so you can hear the reverb. So you can hear the reverb there. If you crank it, it feedbacks, but I think we're okay for today. So this has a spring reverb as opposed to a digital reverb. So there's an actual real spring in there, and it vibrates when you turn the reverb up and gives you that sound of kind of being in a big room, even if you're not. Okay. There's one other effect this amp has, which I hardly ever use. And once again, this is connected to the foot pedal, but it's called tremolo. And it's an effect that's been used for years and years, but I've been hearing it a lot in modern music. So the idea is it kind of goes in and out. So I can set how much it goes in and out, and then I can also set how fast it goes in and out. So it kind of sounds like this, right? I'm going to make it faster. I'm going to make it a little less intense. So, you know, lots of amps have different things built in. This one just happens to have reverb and tremolo, and saves you from buying a reverb and tremolo pedal. Speaking of pedals, I have one hooked up here just so you can see how it goes. So I have this pedal. I have on this amp I have effects send. So it's coming from the amp into the pedal and then back around back into the amp. If your amp doesn't have effects send and effects return, then you basically just plug your guitar right into the pedal and then plug the pedals into the amp, and that's that works just as well. So I wonder how loud this is going to be. I should have tested this first. So I have a few pedals. This is the one I use the most. I'm going to turn it way down and just make sure it's not. Yeah, see? It's pretty loud. This is just a nice distortion. It's, you know, it's not necessarily what someone who plays metal would use, but it's great for blues. I'm going to turn the tremolo off. I'm going to turn the level down, turn the gain up, get a little more distortion here. So with this pedal, a lot of times I'll be playing along somewhat clean, and then I'll just hit the pedal and you know, rock a solo or something like that. So that's what the idea with that is. There is an effects pedal for every single thing you could ever imagine. There's effects pedals that make your guitar sound like an organ. There's no end of it. So, and the other thing about this amp is a lot of times when an amp has two channels, it has a separate EQ, so bass, middle, treble, and so you can set it for each channel. Mine is just set the same, and that's fine for me. Okay, so this is everything about this setup is, you know, tube, it's all analog. But I've also worked with amps that are digital, and with digital amps you can, you know, a line 6 amp or something like that. You can dial in all the effects and amp modules, you know, amp emulators from all different kinds of amps and everything like that. So I've owned amps like that, and I've had amps like that. For me, I choose to have, I'd rather have an amp that has one or two really great sounds than to have, you know, 400 sounds that I don't really want to use. So I hope this makes sense. I think I've covered everything with this amp. It's really just a matter of plugging the guitar into it and dialing it in and seeing what sound works for the song that you're going to record. So I hope this is helpful, and let me know if you have any questions. Have a great day.